Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. Lock down those wheelchairs and walkers because we've got a walker set for you here between the GunShow, Shoguns, and Vibe Tribe. I'm Freaky G, joined on the desk by none other than the great Deacon. Deacon, how are you doing today?
I am doing pretty well. It's a little snowy outside, but I'm ignoring that for right now. So I'm here to focus on some what should be a nice fun set here in the retirement home.
Absolutely, I've got my morning coffee. I'm ready to go, and it's even if it's not morning time. Um, so we can let's just dive right into this and talk about these two teams. Gunshow Shoguns. We'll start off with them. They got one heck of a lineup of a roster here. I mean, Fried Ice Cream, the captain of this team, looks like he's doing a fantastic job managing these guys and really pushing this team forward right now.
Absolutely. Fried's been a very unifying force for them, and it's going to be especially important in this set and next week as unfortunately 6 Point deals with some IRL issues that might keep him away. So it's going to be important for Fried to really get the team together as they go forward and try to move on without one of their players.
Yeah, and it looks like in the roster here, as I'm looking at it with you, we've got Lenkanu. I'm going to make sure I pronounce this right, everybody, but it's Lenkanu stepping in solo lane for 6 Point. 6 Point has been a pretty driving force for them in the solo lane. He's done a pretty good job uh, getting that pressure and making the moves that's necessary as a solo laner in the current season, where the solo lane really is just like a massive factor in your games right now. It's really important as a role this season. And I guess my question for you would be: do you think Linkanu can step into 6 Point's shoes for today's game?
I think it's hard to say he'll step into his shoes just because, like you said, 6 Point really is such a driving force. He's one of the better solo laners in the league. That does not mean Len will not come in and be serviceable. I think he can come in and play well and help the team, but it'll be up to the other four members to make sure that they just pick up that little extra to so that they can still go forward and try to get the win.
Absolutely, it's a team game, and I'm 100% with you there. As we take a look over at the other side of this matchup, Vibe Tribe, and we got Godzilla Frost here. Godzilla Frost, man, that guy right there. I got to cast a game last week for him. He was doing a fantastic job in ADC. That was up against oh, the Mystic Sea Serpents, and even though they didn't win that set, they still looked like a very strong, unified force, and that is one of the greatest factors for a team. Is like, oh, we didn't win, man, but like we looked good losing, and that's okay. We can use that in our next set as we start rolling into picks and bans here. I'm not going to give you a chance to talk about Vibe Tribe at all, unfortunately. But that's just the way it goes. And that first ban right there kind of says everything we need to know about Solo Lane in a nutshell. Vomit. And just kind of go over that one with me. What makes this pick so strong right now?
I mean, he just his ult really, but his kit and laning phase are fairly strong. He's pretty safe between his dash, which just goes so far, so much farther than you think it does, and his ult. He's hard to gank and put down, and then once he's big and stomping on people, I mean, he's big and stomping on people, and there's not
Mm.
a lot you can do about that.
And nothing like the big baby going big baby and having his tantrum on your back line. It is a terrifying thing when you can't stop him. Uh, so as we continue with the band phase, three of these gods look pretty standard so far. A lot of solo lane bands. We've got the Baki, the Bologna, the Vomit, and we finished the band phase off for GunShow with the Kukulkan. Khan. But one I'm not talking about specifically is because to me it seems like a very targeted ban, and I'm sure you'll agree, and it's that Bakasura. Can you kind of explain why this Bakasura is so heavily weighed on ISO's shoulders?
Well, I mean, ISO doesn't make a secret that he likes playing Bakasura and likes playing it often, and he does it well. He knows exactly what he needs to do. He just wants to farm up, get a bunch of damage online, and then show up in team fights and just kind of chomp people. And why would you want to let him do that
Athena.
if you can take it away from him? That does leave a strong god in the Athena up, however, which we do see
Hmm.
locked in here in the first pick.
And that's always the kind of trade-off that you're going to see being made when you go for these targeted bans. You're going to leave these
Ganesh.
stronger meta picks open, but it looks like the response from Vibe Tribe is pretty solid. I think Ganesh is a
Danzaburo.
really good answer to the Athena problem here. Uh, would you agree?
I would definitely agree. Athena and Ganesh are at the top of the support meta right now for good reason. They're both very strong. And while Athena is incredibly strong at what she does is pretty telegraphed. She wants to dash taunt. If you see her dash and you're Ganesh, you can just silence her. And that buys your team an extra couple seconds to just get out, get away, or more likely turn on her while she can't do anything.
Yeah, it really ruins that setup factor with Athena. You really want to
Gilgamesh.
just get in there, taunt as soon as possible, so your damage can start, or so your damage can start putting in damage to said targets. And Ganesh really slows down that transition between engage and execution. So I 100% agree with your assessment there. And as we continue through the pick phase here for the first round, it's the Danzabura alongside the Ganesh, which I find very interesting, but not as interesting as this Gilgamesh pick that GunShow has picked up. Likely for solo lane, there is an option for jungle with that pick. What role do you think we're going to see the Gilgamesh in though in this game, and can it put up as good as a performance as these other attack speed solo laners that we've been seeing?
I think he can. Me personally, I like Gilgamesh best in jungle. I just think if you want that bruiser initiator, he does that role so well. Though I do agree, I think it's going solo in this game. He absolutely can, especially with a lot of the top ones banned out here. As we look over and Valman, Bake, Bologna are all gone as we round into the second phase of bans here.
Yeah, and it's Thanatos and Vulcan and Baba so far. Three pretty good bands in my opinion, especially in the second round. Baba has been a pretty big point of contention in the mid lane. She always goes between periods of being the second pick or the first pick as far as mages go. Do you think that the Baba ban was necessary here with Gunshow's composition, or was this kind of more of we know you can play this pick fried, play something else, and let's see what you got?
I mean, like you said, she's always pretty strong, usually worth of a ban, especially if you know someone plays
Sakit.
it well. I'm admittedly was a little surprised to see the Vulcan ban instead of the Thoth that we have seen
Hmm.
locked in on the other side. Thoth is very strong right now at what he does. Though between a Danzaburo, a Surtur, and the current hover of a Sun Wukong, that does seem like a team that
Sun
can at least
Wukong.
get onto Thoth pretty well.
Yes. And with that pick phase went really fast. Looks like these teams both knew exactly what they wanted to go for in the second round. And it's obvious that something has caught both of our eyes here. The Surtur and Sun Wukong lock in. So we were talking about Gilgamesh kind of being that bruiser initiator jungle, and based on the compositions right now, I mean, this looks like a Surtur jungle to me, and I'm sure it looks like a Surtur jungle to you too. Do you think Surtur can kind of do the same bruiser initiator style that Gilgamesh could in the jungle?
I think he can. There's options, you can either try to go the full damage or the bruiser initiator. When you go as warrior, I generally prefer the bruiser initiator. That way, you don't want to ult in a full damage Surtur into
Mhm.
on her pillar Thoth ult and just be eliminated. So
Yeah,
I would like a little bit of protections and tankiness in there. That way he can get in there, hit some stuns, do some damage, be annoying, meteor onto people, and make his job a little easier.
and one last thing I want to ask you is about these compositions while we're looking at it is the final pick for GunShow Shoguns is the Circuit. Now I've heard a lot of contested opinions about this god. She's really strong right now. Crit's really strong. So these crit gods will start coming out of the woodwork. She's kind of mediocre at the moment. She's still Serket. If you jump on somebody, you're likely going to get aggroed. And so you get these really interesting builds where it's like you get crit with a bruiser build, or you just get a full pin build. Do you think ISO's likely going to try and do a more bruiser style to be a bit more of a facilitator? Do you think ISO is going to go the full damage route, try to blow up a backliner, and pray that his team follows in with him so he survives?
I know ISO. ISO likes to do damage, so I would assume it's either full damage or close to it. Maybe like a last item like Magi's cloak, just for a little extra
Mhm.
survivability would probably be work pretty nice. And the Circuit, there's this the Circuit currently there's a wide range of outcomes and builds. With crit being so strong, you can lean into that. She has it in her kit. Devoted Deathbringer is nuts right now.
Mhm.
Or you can just be like, yeah, maybe I get some crits, maybe I don't. I want to ult people on cooldown. I want to have pen. I want to be able to do those things. I think the main thing about Circuit and what leads to the wide range of outcomes in her play and results is the taunt and the
Mhm.
potential madness that can come from it. If you're able to hit two enemies with that and get them to attack each other and then follow up with your one for a load of damage, that's when Circuit looks amazing right now.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that makes this god such a feast or famine pick, in my opinion. You really have to kind of lay into the idea that she's just going to blow somebody up. But if you're not connecting those abilities and executing, you're going to be you're going to be struggling with this pick as much as you will uh, thriving on it. So I'm excited to see what ISO does on this. I personally have not seen him play much Circuit, so this will kind of be a treat for me, if anything. Um, but we're gonna send this over to a quick break, real quick, as we get the game ready. No,
No, yeah, we're still looking at the picks and bans screen in the Discord call.
that's the only reason that I transitioned,
Mhm.
or that's the only reason why I sent it to a break, because you said we were transitioning and then we didn't transition. All right, everybody, and we're back. We encountered just a very small technical difficulty here on the desk. Nothing big, not a big deal. Nothing we can't handle here for sure, Deacon. And just an issue where we as casters could not see the game, therefore couldn't talk about the action that these two teams were bringing you. Not like I said, not anything that we couldn't handle. And interestingly enough, we were wrong, Deacon. This is not a Surtur solo. This is a or this is a Surtur solo. It is not a Surtur jungle. It's going to be Izakor in the jungle piloting the Sun Wukong. What do you think about that?
Certainly an interesting choice. Not that Sun Wukong can't be effective out of the jungle. It's just if you gave me the option between Surtur and Wukong, I would pick the Surtur in the jungle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
definitely a surprise. I guess nothing to do except watch and see how it turns out. How does Izakor pilot this unconventional pick?
It's not very often that I get to talk about player matchups as well. Sometimes I just don't know the players. Sometimes there's not enough time to talk about it. But I think this is actually a good chance for both of us to talk about this. I think we have a pretty good idea about these two players. And I want to talk about Izakor and ISO in the jungle right now. What do you expect from these two players in the jungle? We know ISO, he's the damage crazy jungle as Poseidon gets jumped on by the mid and Spinach takes the first fall of the game. And I think I may have just got part of my answer right there about what we can expect from ISO.
Yeah, that's exactly what I expect to see out of ISO all game. Is he likes to do damage, and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. And so, what do you? I know Izakor more as a solo laner. He also plays support. I've never really seen him in the jungle. Is there any kind of expectation here for him that you can give me?
I also personally have not seen him play in the jungle, though. Izakor's kind of known as like he can do it all. He's pretty good at just about everything he needs to do for his team. So I would expect him to play effectively as we do see him walking up here to gank what is a low health duo lane.
Yeah, on her taking quite a bit of damage. Looks like he's having some trouble getting the jump off, and it's going to be a double kill for Vibe Tribe in response to that first blood in the mid lane there. That's a pretty big win for this duo lane. The aggression's going to die down quite a bit.
Absolutely. The thing about an on her Athena lane is it is a very high pressure potential kill lane, so not dying to them and in fact turning it around with a nice gank from Izakor manages to swing that potential 180 degrees in the opposite direction. Now Danza and Ganesha have all the leverage, all the ability to push forward and potentially get a kill of their own. And that's the thing about Wukong. Everyone thinks of him as like, oh, he builds some lifesteal. He's really survivable through his ult and everything. Like, it's hard to attack him, but he can do a lot of damage, especially early game, and especially when you build him damage jungle.
Looks like a little bit of a standoff over in the solo lane, but nobody's going anywhere anytime soon. And I'm starting to see some things in this duo lane matchup now. And I think the Danzaburou pick makes a lot more sense now to me than it did in the pick phase. And it looks like this Danzaburou was actually selected to slow down a potential lineup for the GunShow Shoguns with the Danzaburou Athena combination. That's how I see it. I don't know if you agree with that assessment.
It definitely helps to take it out of the hands. That combo would be a lot to deal with, but lately, especially here in Franks, I would generally agree with this as meta in general, but especially here in the Franks ecosystem. Wow. I've seen Danza rocket way up the priority list as he's been played very well lately and gotten a lot of good results.
God with a lot of crowd control, especially an ADC with a lot of crowd control, is always highly favored. I think at any level of play. You do have to worry about your mobility in some of those aspects, but I can agree with that assessment. I've seen a lot of Danza myself as well, and that's the beauty of these leagues is that you even from lower division to higher division games, you're going to see these sort of mini metas take form as the players start to learn how to play against each other, start playing against other teams more within the division. And the Danzaburou definitely within, as you put it, the Franks ecosystem is something that has been quite the point of contention. Going into that, though, Sorry, I had to stop for a second. It looked like we were going to see maybe a trade over those camps, but Serket's got the blink, so ISO lives to see another day for now. Uh, but I was gonna ask, what I was gonna say was, do you think the on her was a perfect response to not getting that Danzaburo?
I mean, on her definitely has a good level of safety in his leap and his CC immune ult in order to deal with Danza's high level of CC. So I think that does track that theory holds some water. But I think more so it was just a bit of a comfort pick. Like on her's still pretty good. If you know you like on her, you'd missed out on the Danza, so to speak, if that was their plan. On her is definitely a very nice second option.
We're 5 minutes in now, Deacon, and looks like the action slowed down. We did see a purple invade from the team that had been ganked. So, like to see that they're willing to hold on to some form of aggression after a pretty good execution. And over in the solo lane, Godzilla Frost found himself his solo kill for the day over in over in the solo lane, and that was somebody I was kind of interested in seeing. I wasn't sure. Oh, Athena actually may be in some trouble here too. Gonna be able to walk out of this one. No abilities up. Used to secure the silver buff. But as I was saying, I got to see Godzilla Frost perform very well over in his over in the duo lane on the Medusa, and I don't remember the other pick, but he looked really good on it as he goes down in the solo lane. ISO makes a gank over there happen. But what I was gonna say was I wasn't really sure what to expect from him in the solo lane, and looks like solo kills is the answer.
Yeah, that's the thing about league plays. You know, it's nice if you get to play your main role or whatever role you end up playing all the time, but usually, you know, you have to swap in and out a little bit. People have to show their flexibility, and it's always nice when players come in and be like, "Hey, I'm able to perform in more than one role so that I can always help my team no matter what." Godzilla
Mm-hmm.
Frost has played pretty well over there, especially on a strong laning pick like Surtur.
So we're 2 kills deep since I last mentioned those earlier kills, and I haven't really got a chance to ask you yet. But is there a particular lane that we should be seeing more or less action in? I know we're already 7 minutes in. We're getting to that mid game phase, but you know the outside lanes don't typically start rotating until about 15 or 20. Do you think solo lane might be the answer for one of these teams? Do you think duo lane might be the answer for the other team? Like, what do you think here?
Uh, I mean, if you had asked me 8 minutes ago, I would have expected the duo lane to be extremely volatile. I would have expected 3 to 4 or 5 kills out of that lane alone by this point, to be honest with you. So I'm a little surprised that maybe I guess not after with the double kill early on that both teams have just been like, we're farming, we're farming.
Ooh, getting a little hairy over here in the solo lane for Linkanu. May have to back all the way up for this one. Able to make that Bastion eat the Surtur 1. So we'll live for the moment. But speaking of volatile, this Surtur pick, always known for being that 1v1 winner. He's gonna trade. He's just better at trading, better at sustaining. Usually, depending on the pick, he's not gonna out sustain a Hercules anytime soon. Don't get it twisted here. But he's just better at those situations. As Thoth in a little bit of trouble, has the dash, so he's gonna get out only with a little bit of poke. But this solo lane matchup, is this one that you're, as a Gilgamesh, you're kind of waiting for late, or are you trying to maybe actually box with this Surtur early on?
I
Oh,
oh,
Ganesh actually falling really low, and Kalo will pick up his first kill of the game. Looks like that's all that's going to come from it. Also, an attempted blue buff invade and a kill in the mid lane as Fried finds himself another kill early on. 2-0 is your mid laner from the GunShow Shoguns. As Wet Spinach takes another fall. Looks like there was a lot of resources burned for that one.
yeah, action all over the map. We saw buff invade, a death in one lane, a death in another lane. The mid lane action is that we start with the end there. At this point in time, Fried is a very good player, and you don't want him to have a lead. You don't want
Yes.
Thoth to have a lead. So when you have Fried on Thoth with a lead, that spells some potential serious trouble for Vibe Tribe to have to find an answer to here soon.
Yeah, and I 100% agree. Pride is a phenomenal player. Got the privilege of playing with him last season. Gilgamesh uses the ultimate to try and get some damage out, but barely hanging on by a thread. Godzilla Frost will live and be able to come back to that lane and get some of that farm. Uh, but no, I 100% agree. And the best part about this is that Pride has the tools with his team to be even more successful with this Thoth. I mean, we talk about Athena ad nauseum. This is Smite on easy mode. When your support can just go in and land a 2.5 second duration taunt, that's more than enough time for a Thoth to charge that ultimate up and hit with the power of 1,000 suns, if you will. It's insane. So am if this Thoth continues to get out of hand, how do you think Vibe Tribe transitions to deal with this?
It then becomes very hard because you have to either hope he steps out of position and then capitalize on it, or you have to yourself. Oh, as we see some good action over here.
Ultimate from the Circuit. Surtur has to do some running around and some juking. He's gonna get taunted again, very low. Izakor's here, and here comes the Athena as well to try and help his team finish off the Surtur. Taunt back in, but is there gonna be enough follow-up? Diving the tower is the Circuit, and he will make that kill happen, but not without trading his life to Izakor in the process. A 1-for-1 trade in the solo lane, but the jungler falls for the Shoguns. I think that trade may have been more worth it for Vibe Tribe.
I do think Vibe Tribe gets a little bit of the edge there. If nothing else, if not in terms of actual in-game, the mental edge of Frost living so long that he's able to get a trade there is massive for Vibe Tribe.
And that's probably what we're going to start expecting from Vibe Tribe for the rest of this game, specifically Godzilla Frost, is just him surviving in these lanes. He's got the scepter, so those cooldown resets are going to be in his future. Love that item on him. It is fantastic. I am sort of curious, though, on your opinion. I do personally enjoy, while Segment Scepter is a nice item for those cooldown resets that I just talked about, I also am partial to, it's blanking me right now, Runeforged Hammer. We'll talk about that in a second because the action's begun, and there's 2-on-2 right here in the beacon. Wukong hanging in there. Ultimate's going to stop the aggression off the Circuit, but not for long. Thoth diving in on Poseidon, but Wukong gets ulted by the Circuit. Wukong goes up into the air, trying to find a little bit more damage or an escape route. Lands right onto Ice Cream, misses the one, unfortunately. Is the 2 going to be enough? It is, and Izakor will be able to get out of this one. The Whirlpool from Poseidon peels out his jungler, and that's a 1-for-0 trade, but the low health bars means they will not be able to contest this beacon safely. And it looks like it's not over. Spinach is going to play his cards here. Reveals himself on the map for Wukong to go in. The 1 gets interrupted by the taunt from the Athena. Now they're going to try and go back in. ISO takes another spill, though, on the re-engage, and it's a 2-for-0 trade in favor of Vibe Tribe. Make that 3-for-0 because Panzer Stew found himself a solo kill over in the duo lane.
Yeah, that Shoguns do pick up the beacon, so it's not entirely for nothing, but that was a very good series of events for Vibe Tribe there. I did not think it was going to end well when they walked back up to beacon at 15% HP.
Oh, yeah, no.
But they played well together and got the right target priority. They got the damage out, then there was just the Athena, and now we can deal with the Athena.
Looks like we found our answer to our earlier question as well about who's going to be dealing with this Thoth. Izakor, I think, handled that very nicely. Just does what Wukong does. Just be an unrelenting force in the enemy backline. Make it impossible for them to interact with you with all your CC immunities that you have in your kit. If that's the plan, Vibe Tribe may have the answers for a win here.
Yeah, I mean, it's survivability and annoyance through the fact that his ult just takes him out of play, lets him heal for so long, and then he comes back down, he's hitting you like a truck, and suddenly he's you had him down to 10% HP, but he's back up to 50. As we see more action here in the left jungle.
Yeah, we got a little bit of a scuffle as Wukong slowly making his way back into that back line. Good taunt from Athena, though. Ganesh going to throw out the ultimate to try and slow them down so his team can catch up. Gets tossed into tower, though, and Serket going to find his third kill of the game there on the Ganesh. Means that this is also a botched objective fight for Vibe Tribe.
A little bit, Ganesh stepping a little too far forward, but Vibe Tribe was just kind of not on the same page there. They were too far scattered. The On Her was in the back line, but no one was really focusing on him.
Rocket gets blocked, but they're not going to be able to finish that kill up, unfortunately. But that's another huge cooldown for Vibe Tribe to lose. Athena now is the one that's too far up. Whirlpool's going to keep her from dashing, and the damage will come slowly but surely. Wukong gets thrown into a wall, eats some damage, has to go up into the air just to ensure his survival. Maybe looking for another re-engage here. Going to land right on the Thoth, half of his health and one ability, but now they're going to turn onto the On Her. Ultimate does connect, but the Aegis stops the damage, and Kalo will fall, giving them another kill to climb back into this one.
Yeah, I'm edge of my seat as I see them re-engage with low health bars, but Vibe Tribe is able to counterpunch so well throughout this game. Shoguns might get that first step in or take a beacon or get a pick, but Vibe Tribe has shown repeatedly the ability to come back, even it up, or even make it a better, like a 2-for-1 in their favor when all signs say that 15 seconds ago, looks like you guys lost this one, time to lick your wounds. And they're like, we don't have wounds.
We feel no pain. No, straight from the mouth of Deacon there, everybody. Vibe Tribe feels no pain.
I know who feels no fear, and that's Izakor going into a Thoth like that.
and I was going to ask you about that. It's crazy to me that we're watching Izakor go in, and it's the Wukong effect all over again. You see Wukong in your games. It's like your ranked games, especially. You see this where you see a Wukong get locked in. It's solo lane usually, and the Wukong effect, as I call it, is Wukong just kind of gets ignored a lot. Gilgamesh, though, has to worry about him now. Able to dodge out Tiger Stance, so nothing lost there. But your team just ignores him. He just gets away with murder in most situations because he's so hard to put down, be it full damage or full defense, does not matter, that it almost feels like it's not worth it. And I think that that's kind of hurting GunShow right now as Izakor makes his way into the mid lane, put out a little poke. But yeah, do you feel the same on that particular assessment?
I'll wait a second to answer you there as we see a gathering here around the Gold Fury. Athena like falling low.
Yeah. That's tough.
Yeah.
Support.
They just again they overextend a little bit, get caught out in the Vibe Tribe side of the jungle. Vibe Tribe has the numbers. Yeah, you got to be on the same page, especially around objectives. So as we see Vibe Tribe pull the Fury.
This is a tough one. Thoth does have the ultimate for the steal. Serket's going to get the taunt, and the ultimate from Wet Spinach is going to be used to kill instead of secure. Thoth may have an opening here. Vibe Tribe will be able to get that confirmed. And Ganesh barely making it out with his life in the process. Looks like they decided to completely give that up. Blink in. Beads from Thoth just to make sure he doesn't get stunned under his own tower. The damage is pretty clean. Tiger Stance into the T1 now. No dash. Ultimate comes out. Izakor may trade his life. He won't even trade it. He'll lose it under the risky tower tower dive for the kill onto Fried. I think Greed may have laced his eyes there.
A little bit. He did his initial job well. He bullied Thoth away from the objective so that they could secure it. There's no risk of a Thoth ult if he's not in range, even with his extremely long range. But then he just saw red. He's like, this Thoth is low. I can get the kill. And apparently he could not.
He could not. No, very tough situation for Izakor because that's a shutdown bonus that you just handed to that Thoth that, well, whatever you were slowing down on him, you just gave back tenfold. This in my opinion really increases the difficulty of the game for Vibe Tribe.
A little bit, like I said, you never want to give Thoth more anything except deaths, as we see ISO pull the beads and now ult.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
Ganesh ult to try and stop that one, but the leap from Serket's going to stop it. Now Athena's here. May see another situation. No whirlpool to stop her from getting out, though.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Wet Spinach there, sometimes it's just that simple for Serket. She walks up, she pulls your beads, you don't have a dash, and then she ults you. Athena dashing out. I hear a rocket from Danza. There it is.
The rocket's going to connect. Wukong able to find that kill onto Patriot, landing out of the ultimate, but now ISO is going to chase him down in the jungle, try and find that kill. Danza's here to help his jungle out. Going to be able to save him as well, but the Gilgamesh comes in and gets the cleanup. Lin Kanu coming out of the solo lane with a steel chair as Gilgamesh now has to make his way out, taunted back in, and she is unable to. Gonzaburo now in his own bit of trouble as Surtur going to make the cutoff path to keep Gilgamesh from chasing down his carry. On her, yeah. Also coming around that wall, throws out the ultimate, but unfortunately not enough damage. Now he's whirlpooled in. Beads has to come out. He's not going to be able to get out of this one, though, and Godzilla Frost will find that last hit to take down Kalo, trading at least one kill over to the Vibe Tribe in that fight.
Yeah, just very long, spread out, prolonged engagement there from both teams. We saw Len come in from the back and come from the top rope with some great pathing to jump in on the unaware, and then
thank you for that.
get the kill onto Izakor and almost get the kill onto Panzer. Danza just able to get away there, but then again just a little too spread out, a little not on the same page.
Ooh. Triple taunt. Though. And it's going to be two members falling to fried ice cream. Donzaburo looks like he's next on the menu as Serket and Athena make that chase. ISO will finally get that last hit with the two. And it's a guaranteed pyro for Vibe Tribe, but trades out 3.
Yeah, I like the call to pull it, but then once they show up with an Athena and a Thoth there, you have to realize, probably not the best call. And then as they're grouped up, Athena just dash triple taunt with a Thoth behind her. That's so much damage. There's nothing you can do at that point.
It was a fantastic play, and Patriot should be feeling pretty good about himself for that one. He was the one you lean on for that kind of play. And now the Oni Fury is looking pretty juicy for the GunShow Shoguns. And only Wukong here really to steal it away, and Gilgamesh is just going to drop kick him away from the objective. Kind of makes this game even more difficult for Vibe Tribe. We see them get into really good positions. They make really good plays. They trade out in fights, and then they try to make an objective play. And unfortunately, this is why you don't let Athena through. One god just punished you for making a good play, and just of course Patriot also having the game sense there to know that they were on that objective.
And yeah, that's like we said during picks and bans. Sometimes when you want to specifically target one player, you let through a really strong meta pick, and that's just what Athena can do. There are a lot of good gods who can set up their team, but no one does it as simple and regularly as Athena. It's just dash taunt. What are you going to do? Beads? She has it again in 15 seconds as we see a group up here on the blue buff.
And Gilgamesh doing his best impression of a dancer as he moves his way around. Ganeshult's going to slow down the escape from these two as the rest of the GunShow Shoguns show up to try and help their solo and support. Surtur is really low, and Fried's going to start this one off with the first kill in this fight. And now the chase down continues as the ultimate comes through and takes Thoth and Athena up into the sky. They're still chasing down that Poseidon. He will be able to escape, it looks like, as the jump from on her tries to chase him down. Now Wukong's the one that's in trouble. Double taunt from Athena. The low health bar doesn't scare Patriot as Kalo will find the kill. Now it's Ganesh that's in trouble, fighting through 4 members of the GunShow Shoguns. Doesn't look like she'll be able to trade anything out, and Britters will fall.
Unfortunate there for Vibe Tribe. They went to attack Len Kanu as he was alone on his blue buff. They're just like, oh, it's Gilgamesh. He's alone. We'll kill him real quick, and then we can either pull fire or we can maybe push his tower. And then Len just didn't die. He took no damage throughout that fight. Was able to just like you said, dance around and exist and drop his ult and slow the team, and then his team showed up and Thoth ult rips through everything.
Mm-hmm. And that was all on the end of a very late blue buff invade from Vibe Tribe as well. I think with how far up Thoth is, I mean, level 20, 8, 1, and 4, he's only got one item to go. He's got that alternate timeline online already as well. With the way things are going for these guys, I think Vibe Tribe really need to rethink the strategy here in the late game and really work on the positioning there, because I think being that far up with the late game is really hurting them.
Yeah, it's just, again, I understand the initial, oh hey, he's alone, let's get him. But then as that fight prolongs, you have to have like a clock in the back of your head, be like, the other team's gonna be here, they know we're here, they're close by, like we gotta either get the pick or get out, and unfortunately they did neither.
Yeah, very tough, and it's gonna be the ultimate from Shoguns, specifically Fried, to make sure that goes their way. Wukong taking quite a bit of poke there. He's gonna have to make his escape. Looks like the engagement is kind of over. Just a little scuffle, if anything.
One thing that I do think is going to be changing throughout these team fights is I've noticed throughout the game that the Kraken ult has not been hitting as hard as you'd usually expect it, and that's because Spinach went for the Chronos pendant as opposed to the Book of Thoth start. So he didn't have that much power through the early game. But now, as we're... Ooh, another double taunt.
That's the beads from Danzabura as well.
It's big to get that safety off the Danza. But now, as I was saying, now as we get into the later game, he has more items under his belt. That Kraken is really going to start hurting regardless of what the first item was. So GunShow does have to be careful.
Realizing what they've walked into here. Ultimate's going to come out to help the support, but it's not going to be enough. Linkanu does not care about your Kraken, he says. And Thoth now being jumped on by the other solo laner, Godzilla, doing his best impression of Godzilla as he dives into 4 members and becomes a terror. Ultimate comes out and knocks Wet's finish down to nothingness as the rest of the team turn their attention to Godzilla, who will eventually fall to that damage from the Circuit. Poseidon also in trouble. Good taunt, and Panzer Stew will turn him away to the gray screen. A 2-for-2 trade. Vibe Tribe working their way slowly back into this one.
2-for-2 trade, almost a little more for Shoguns there, as we saw some really low health bars on part of Vibe Tribe. But any even trade is still a win for Vibe Tribe at this point. They're only about 3,000 gold down. Like, it's not as if this lead has ballooned to something totally unmanageable. But especially at this point, we're seeing people hit level 20. We're seeing starter items finish. We're going to see 6 items start to roll in here soon. That gold does still matter, so any even trade that lets Vibe Tribe take a little chunk out of that is big for them.
Absolutely, and now we're starting to see the main objective being looked at here, that prized Fire Giant, and we're 28 minutes in. Do you think these teams will wait for that 30-minute point before really starting to contest that, or do you think they might go ahead and take it now if they get the opportunity?
I don't think they're going to pull fire before the 30 minutes, as we see they're both still a little scattered. They might group up around that time, but I do believe once we start really dancing in earnest, it will be for the EFG.
Looks like it's going to be a slow dance for sure. Both these teams have been, in a way, struggling to find a great position in this game. Once you see one trade, once you see one kill, it trades pretty quickly, and if it doesn't trade, the fight's usually over just as fast as it started. But Vibe Tribe have just not been able to come out clean in most of these fights. If they find one clean fight, do you think that might actually end up being the victory condition for them?
I think it could be. It all really depends. Like at this point, if a team gets a nice clean fight, like a 3-for-1 or a 2-for-0, I have to assume they get fire in that instance as well, which then just puts them in the driver's seat and gives them such an advantage, as we see Circuit taking use of the item shops, but more importantly, Izakor forced into the ult again.
I had to go up into the air, the clones taking all that damage. It's both the tanks getting knocked up by Surtur, though. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Circuit just about loses their life. They're looking for the kill onto Izakor. Fried will finally get that last hit, but so much was used just to try to kill him that this might end up being more in favor of Vibe Tribe. Ultimate is going to stop the Gilgamesh damage. He's so tanky. There's nothing that can stop him. Timeline is going to keep Poseidon alive for now. Has to use the Whirlpool just to peel himself. Kalo finds Britters, and now Wet Spinach finally takes his fall for the second time in this fight. It's only a matter of time. They trade between Jungle and Solo. Godzilla Frost will be the last one to fall for Vibe Tribe. Donzo's the only one alive. May try to defend this T2, but it realizes that that's not the best position to be in and will back up and let it go. Still not exactly safe yet, though, as it looks like their GunShow Shoguns are actually going to go ahead and dive this Phoenix. They're going to try and take down this mid Phoenix, it looks like, as the rest of the members walk in. Minion Wave is there to help deal the damage, and it's going to be enough. Mid Phoenix and first Phoenix of this game falls.
Yeah, and like you said, it was finally a really clean fight. We've seen these two teams scrapping all game. Maybe a team gets a win, but it's a 2-for-1 or just a single pick or whatever, and we've seen it go both ways. Finally, GunShow Shoguns gets grouped up, gets one pick onto Izakor, who has escaped with less than 100 HP at least twice this game. I don't know how he keeps doing it, but he was not able to do it again. They get the pick onto Izakor, and then the fight's so spread out at that point in time, they're able to use their numbers and just domino effect that into another kill, another kill, another kill, and then a Phoenix, and now a Gold Fury. This lead has now gone up to 7,000 gold, as we see what I imagine are about to be a lot of finished builds, while Shoguns group up around what is now an enhanced Fire Giant for the next, pivotal moment.
Oh yeah, and I gotta point out here, man, that Izakor had such a great early, even in the mid game, had a really good showing here. But I'm starting to see the struggles with the build. He is opting for this full damage build, and don't get me wrong, Wukong, slippery as they come. But I feel like with the way you want to play this pick, I think a bruiser, at least two defense items probably would have done him some favors. I don't know. What do you think?
I think I agree. I think if you go the Eye of the Jungle instead of Boomba's starter, and then go to Protector of the Jungle at level 20, and then instead of what I assume is about to be a Heartseeker, maybe go like, a Magi, or I'm drawing a
Or even
blank.
that Crusher. Getting rid of that Crusher, getting a Magi, getting a Stone of Binding even.
Exactly.
Something like that. Stone of Binding is such a great item on Wukong as well. As Gilgamesh comes around and makes the cutoff, taunt is on the Sun Wukong. He does get drop kicked away out of the team's initial fight, and that's going to give him a chance to go up into the air, get this heal. Surtur going to land down onto the front line of Vibe Tribe now, and it looks like this engagement has kind of fizzled out. A couple of ultimates gone, but mainly on the side of Vibe Tribe. Look at all those empty diamonds.
Yeah, lots of ults expended on Vibe Tribe. We did see the On Her and Athena ult expended, so it's not as if they didn't get anything, but advantage there for Shoguns, especially as they pick up the Pyro and get what is now their second Pyro Bomb.
That's going to be very helpful in these last sieges, as we know, Fire Giant is what these teams are looking for. They've been grouping up around this objective for the last 3 minutes now, or at least since that Phoenix play from GunShow Shoguns. And this Athena is just continuing to be the advocate for the team. They just keep pushing in behind these taunts, and Patriot is doing such a great job of lining these guys up, getting in this late game portion has been getting nothing but 2 and 3-man taunts. Surtur now going to be the next one to get taunted in. Fire Giant's being pulled, and Surtur has to use the ultimate just to escape the Gilgamesh and the Athena. Crazy how much damage just came out from the 2 tanks of the GunShow Shoguns here. That Warrior's Axe, that Axe of Animosity doing so much. Gilgamesh doing a very good job of zoning. It looks like they're going to walk right in. Blink from Surtur. Ultimate's going to come out from Thoth, and it's going to secure that Fire Giant.
Wukong
now they have to make their escape. Wukong is in the back looking at fried ice cream. Doesn't connect the 1 though, so he's still going to be alive for now. Ultimate's going to come out. Alternate timeline's going to keep him alive, give Thoth another chance. Aegis is on the knockup, but it's not going to be enough. Izakor finally takes down the mid laner of the GunShow Shoguns, but now Poseidon is the one that's in trouble as the solo laner from Vibe Tribe is chasing him around, or from GunShow Shoguns is chasing him around, but 3 members of the GunShow Shoguns, 4 members now show up, and they'll put him down. And that Fire Giant is secure, but you lose 2 members, no longer with that belt around their waist.
I can only imagine how much Wet Spinach was just screaming, "Help! Please! Please!" Because Len Kanu on this Gilgamesh has been an absolute terror. He finally dies here for only the 2nd time in this game, and as has been mentioned several times throughout, he's so tanky going into these fights with this initiation. Like, he just walks up to 3, 4 people and is like, "Hi, you can't hurt me."
And he's doing so much damage as well. I mean, he's got the Kensai's, he's got the Axe of Animosity, he's got Gilgamesh 1 adding to that damage and kit. He's very disruptive and very angry. That solo kill early in the game on him has awoken a fire in him that we are just not seeing put out by any of Vibe Tribe. I don't even think this kill on him is going to slow him down. Who needs Fire Giant when you're Gilgamesh, right?
Exactly. And like you said, he has so much, he's so tanky, he has a lot of damage, so much utility. He can drop kick you into his team if you are a little out of position. He has shown no reason to feel fear, and he has not shown any.
Fire Giant, though, is around 3 members of the GunShow Shoguns, and this is an EFG. 2 bombs in pocket as well.
ISO dealing Izakor.
Oh, yeah, found out Izakor in the jungle, maybe in a little bit of trouble, though, as the Danzabura rocket's going to get used. Ooh. Nice jump from the Circuit. ISO lives to see another day as the rest of Vibe Tribe, or as the rest of GunShow Shoguns, are grouped up on that right-hand side. This is going to be a very free Phoenix from them. Neither member with the bomb has made it to the Phoenix yet, but I don't think they're going to need it. No, it's gone. Onher walks in, and it is immediately destroyed. Athena looking for a taunt. Pillar is going to accidentally stop them from walking forward, so taunt doesn't connect. Surtur goes up into the air. The Ganeshal did not slow this engagement down one bit. And now GunShow Shoguns are going to try and fight this one out. It's an Izakor, or it's ISO down. Godzilla Frost finds that kill, but I don't think any of the GunShow Shoguns care. Their jungle only did their part in distracting as Len Kanu finds him another kill. 7-2-7 is the solo laner. No Phoenixes left alive. GunShow Shoguns are walking into the throne room. It's only the DPS still alive for Vibe Tribe. They've got to try and stop this, but I don't think they can. Ultimate's going to stop them for only a moment and not enough, as it's a win for the GunShow Shoguns in the first game of this set.
Yeah, I mean, just really strong team play by the Shoguns there. And once we passed the 20-ish minute mark, 20, maybe like 24-minute mark, where it was really even throughout the first 2, Shoguns they got on the same page, they grouped together, they played so well. Len Kanu bought so much space. Fried was just ripping damage through team fights. Patriot was taunting everybody. Like, they just played so well as a team. Vibe Tribe played very well too, again, especially that first 20-minute mark where it was pretty even throughout. Just a little bit to clean up and take time in between the games to, just make sure on the same page, have a clean game plan going into game 2.
Yeah, these guys looked very good in this set, and I think given the chance, Vibe Tribes, I've said set like this game's like the set's over, this game, and I think given the chance, these guys can come back into the next game of this set and bring this to a 3-game set. But we're gonna have to wait and see just what adjustments are made right after this break. everybody, and welcome back. We're here, right here on the table. Me and Deacon still here. Uh, man, that game one. That was a quite the game from excuse me, quite the game from GunShow Shoguns there, putting up quite the numbers in that game and just playing really well, Deacon.
Absolutely. As you saw, as we said, like it was really close throughout the first half of the game, but then once Gunshow really took that advantage, they grabbed it and never let it go. They were able to use it to keep gaining more. Fights went from being even trades to 3-for-1s or 3-for-0s, and objectives were cleanly getting added in there, and then they were just able to push down the structures. And Vibe Tribe just did did put forth good effort. They never
Mhm.
gave up, and it's not as if Gunshow was able to do whatever they wanted with no opposition. But
Yeah.
Vibe Tribe was just a little miscommunication, not on the same page, target priority just a little off the mark. These are things that could be nice and cleaned up for game 2 here, hopefully, in their case.
Now, and that being said, we now have a pretty good idea of what these teams need to do to clean up for this game too. But now we look at the picks and bans side of it. What do you think these guys needs to change in P's and B's maybe to help them out a little bit? Maybe get that make that target prioritization easier, that execution simpler, and hopefully bring this into a game 3 situation.
Unless the first wave of bans are changed up in some way, I believe they're going to have first pick here in game 2. So if the Athena is open, that would help. It just makes everything that much simpler. Whoever Athena taunts, that's the target priority, as we saw in game 1 with Shoguns.
And we get to have that age old conversation of that first pick spot. And it's always kind of like the toss up there between those two. Is first pick the better situation or is second pick? And what do you think if Vibe Tribe goes this first pick slot? Well, they are going this first pick slot. We do know that actually. But is the Vibe Tribe, getting that first pick slot? Is this a better spot for them? Do you think to make the adjustments necessary, or is this maybe not the best decision they could have made?
I think first pick's stronger right now. I would usually be of the opinion that second pick is best. But in the current meta, where there's just this clear top small section of gods, and then there's a lot of people in the second tier who are very good and very effective, but your tops, your Vamanas, your Athenas, your Hachis, your Bakes, as we see the first 4 bands, have really solidified themselves as clearly best in game.
Mhm.
If you ever have the chance to get one of them on your team, it's always worth that first pick, in my opinion.
So you're saying that we're in a meta where there's just gods that are head and shoulder clearly better above the rest right now. And as you put it, Baki being one of them, he's the first ban overall.
Do whales
And
have
as we,
shoulders?
yeah, they have their fins that I would say that that's kind of like shoulders.
True.
It
Functionally the same, I guess.
he's a humpback whale, so head and hump
That-
over the competition. There you go. Anyways, we gloss over these bands real quick. Bands for Vibe Tribe is Baki Kujira, Hachiman, and Bakasura. Bands for Gunshow Shoguns, Athena, Baman, and Kukulkan. One pick that got left up that was in the band before is that Bologna.
Ganesh.
Vibe Tribe, hover and lock in the Ganesh. Do you think Gunshow just respond with a Bologna pickup here now in the top 2?
I would not be surprised. Bologna is incredibly strong, and while the auto attack solo laners are generally a little better, it's not as if your abilities or your bruisers can't be good, as we saw both Surtur and Gilgamesh play pretty well in last game.
Mm-hmm.
Bologna comes with that added benefit of the disarm to shut down other auto attack solos, so that she has the edge. And in
Honor.
late game fights, she can shut down your ADC. And what's an ADC without his autos? He's just a DC.
That's a very good way of putting it, actually. I'm going to have to hold on to that one. But it's not a Bologna selection for GunShow. They've decided that that's not what they're worried about. They go for the Geb on her and lock in that dual lane. That just tells me that on her was the plan all along in last game, I think, even with the Athena pick in the last game. So that just means that on her was what Kalo was looking for. And not Kalo. I'm sorry, I think I got the teams confused. No, I didn't.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
what the carry for GunShow is looking for. Excuse me, and I like that. On her is in a very good spot right now, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. He's like I said, there's a large second tier, and he's right there in that. Hachi may be the best in the role, but on her is extremely good at what he does. And if on her's in your god pool, there's pretty much no reason to not pick him
Tsukuyomi.
if that's what you want to do. We do see a Suku and a Poseidon lock in for Vibe Tribe.
Ooh, Tsukuyomi. Now this is a pick that we don't see very often, and execution is definitely something you've got to be looking for whenever you're making this pick selection. Do you think so far Vibe Tribe have a good top 3 for this Tsukuyomi to really send the message?
I think they absolutely could. They have a lot of spatial control between Ganesh and Poseidon, which helps Suku a lot because he doesn't provide much in his own way. And given how Izukor was playing on the Wukong last game, as we ironically see the Wukong locked in here, that play style that he had, I think, could fit Suku. The only difference is once you're in with Suku, you're not getting out. Not that he used the Wukong ult to get out much at all, if ever, but once you're in with Suku, you're definitely not getting out. So I would expect him to really just lean into it and just try to do damage and put up numbers.
And this Sun Wukong pick is really cool to me because the GunShow Shoguns know full and well. I'm sure the captain of this team is well, Friday is very intelligent when it comes to these picks and bans. And I know he's definitely seen that Bologna, and he said, no, let's not go for that. Let's leave that open, and we'll pick something that plays well into it. And Wukong is a pick that plays very well into a Bologna. So it almost seems like they're trying to bait Vibe Tribe into a Bologna pick here. And that's the main counter to those picks is those ability-based warriors that don't really rely on their auto attacks for their clear and for their fighting. I love what GunShow Shoguns have kind of done here in this draft already. As Vulcan is the pick in the second phase. Quickly go over these bans. It's Danzaburo and Achilles taking away a pick that was really good for Vibe Tribe, and then also taking away another really strong solo laner. And then Baba Yaga and Thaw, so taking away that Vulcan ban and giving it over to Fried, maybe giving them a better potential here.
Yeah, again, Vulcan and Thoth both very strong. They like to, kind of sit back and just pump out massive numbers of damage. But the Vulcan is a little bit more punishable if you get to him. He can't dash away. So I'm not at all surprised to see the Thoth ban. Thoth's really strong, one of the best in meta. Fried proved he's really good at him. Just take that away. We don't want to deal with it anymore. Not at all surprised to see that.
And the Mercury pick there, looking pretty good. Hercules and Izanami, the last couple of picks for Vibe Tribe. One last question before we send this one over to a break. Which of these two teams are you leaning on right now based on these compositions?
It's pretty close, but I think I have to give the edge to Shoguns just based a little bit on ease of execution, mainly around that Tsukuyomi, the jungle difference. ISO knows what he's doing on Mercury and how to ult in and be disruptive. Not that I don't think Izukor can't be extremely effective on Suku. It's just that positioning with him is so important that I just give the edge slightly to Shoguns.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to see if that edge comes out to be true right after this break. Hello, everybody, and welcome back from that short break as we start walking, running, wheelchairing our way into game 2. A little bit of a dance party in the solo side of the map here for Vibe Tribe. But good to see that their mentals are still in check.
Absolutely. You love to see people just goofing up, having fun a little bit, making sure they're relaxed to loosen the nerves before we get here into minions spawning in 2 seconds.
And as we look at the builds here and um, see these starts, do you see anything that kind of sticks out to you? Any points that you want to make at the start of this game?
Nothing too surprising. Both solos going axe. Different first items. I imagine Wukong gonna go probably into that Rune Forged Hammer, and Hercules most likely going into the Breastplate of Regrowth. But those items both just fit what those gods want to do so well that I'm not at all surprised to see. Mild surprise at Cowl out of Izanami as opposed to that arrow, but Cowl is very good at what it does too, so not a bad choice, just a, like I said, tiny surprise.
Cowl is one of those items that I think gets overlooked now just because of how strong crit is, but I think people have forgotten that last season Cowl was the premier item, and it's such a good team item from your carry. It's something you don't really see out of your carries very often. You know, the team play. Oh, actually, Fried Ice Cream getting a little bit of that early aggression thrown on him does survive, which is probably the best outcome for him there.
Absolutely. He did have to drop the beads to get out of there, but he does get out of there. And that's like I was saying, Vulcan not as survivable as Thoth just because he doesn't have a dash. Once the Tsukuyomi's on top of you, what are you gonna do? He's knock-up immune in his 2 again now, so you can't just meatball him.
Yeah, it's very peculiar situation. And remember, they picked the Vulcan into the Tsukuyomi here. Dual lane though, as we look at it, we were talking about that item pickup, and was gonna say, as Britters takes the fall, and there's first blood going over to Kalo, but I was gonna say earlier before the transition, it just kind of slipped my mind that GunShow Shoguns were sacrificing a lot of pressure with this Geb on her combination, but they're not playing like they've lost any pressure.
No, they're not. In fact, they're playing like they're more aggressive than they were in game 1 here throughout the first phase. Into an Izanami, that is always a bit of a surprise. Worked out in their favor for sure.
And it's very strange saying that with an Izanami on the board. You see Izanami, and the first thing you think to yourself is, "Oh, wow, yeah, we concede the lane here. You know, we don't have the pressure. We're gonna have to take some waves under tower probably." But GunShow Shogun said, no, we're not doing that. As a matter of fact, we're going to do the exact opposite, as Hercules getting tossed around inside the lane here. Wukong also low, but still chasing down Godzilla. No fear on the face of Lin Kanu, transitioning that over from game 1 here.
Yeah, good effort there on the gank by ISO. They brought him low as we see Suku blinking.
Not really going to be much of anything there. Wukong does have that dash up and throws some back his way as well. Izanami, though, has to burn the beads after the impale into the wall there. And that's going to open up the door for these junglers over on the other side of the map now.
Yeah, we see both jungles go over to solo. Neither one able to get a successful kill off, as these solos are just a little too tanky here in the early game. Not enough damage coming out of the jungles ever since they removed the penetration from the class passive. But yeah, lots of action over here in duo lane, which I'm not surprised to see. Again, mild surprise that it's going in favor of the Shoguns when you have a Ganesh Izanami, but they are so ulting in.
Merc ulting in just for that steal too. Takes the red buff away from Wet Spinach. And ultimate from Vulcan also gets used, but I'm sure that was just to ensure that his jungle doesn't get turned on. So 3 ultimates in trade there. Wet Spinach also burning his own just to put some damage out and hopefully get that secure. ISO's low, likely also from taking down that camp. Oh, the jungler's walking right up on him too. I wonder if he knows that he's in a lot more trouble than he thinks. Dash is up though. Ultimate's going to come out from the Suki, and he will be able to get that kill onto ISO. Izakor starting off his jungle very nicely.
Yeah, I mean, ISO just gets caught lazy backing there. Not a lot to break down when it's just
No.
that simple. Don't back when the enemy can potentially find you, especially when you're at 15% HP.
And there's something I've got to point out here. And, if you don't mind, can we transition over to the solo lane very quickly? This has been his health bar for the past 3 minutes now. This guy has done nothing but just chill under his own tower and getting the farm pushed to him, freezing lane when he gets the opportunity. Hasn't backed yet, still has that tier 1 item. That is not something you see very often, even in upper division play. So I'm kind of surprised from Godzilla Frost here with the patience that he's showing in lane right now.
Definitely a little bit. I imagine he was just making sure he could finish that first item and then teleport back into lane as we Gebalt getting a big stun off to get himself out of some trouble there.
Yeah, that was a very good ultimate, and it's a darn shame that Kalo wasn't there to follow up. But even then, you're just surviving at that point, and that's sometimes I think you're going to see in lower division play things that you don't see supports or anybody really doing, is just those defensive ultimates to ensure your survival, or just pressing 4 in general. Sometimes you just got to press 4, Oh, Ganesh though is in a lot of trouble. The slow is going to come out from Geb there. Relic usage, gotta love that, and that's going to confirm that kill very easily for GunShow Shoguns. And that's only 2 kills on the side of GunShow Shoguns, and it's both onto Britters. And that's when I get to have this conversation about, the support dying early, kind of tough. But if there's anybody you want going down early, it's probably your support, right?
Right. Like obviously it still doesn't feel great, but again, like you said, if you have to have someone fall on that grenade, it is the support, as we see Izukor walking up here to them. They have no idea he's here.
Oh, the ultimate's going to come out from the Izanami. On her has to use the ultimate for the CC immunity. He's still fighting for his life, though, as Izukor uses Piercing Moonlight to continue the damage and engage. Oh, very low, and Izukor will find the damage on the 1 to confirm that kill. Has to back, but I don't think he's complaining.
No, he's certainly not complaining. But during all of that, ISO did pick up a kill onto Wet Spinach in the mid lane, so Shoguns were able to. They took a loss in the duo lane, but they were still able to get some advantage elsewhere on the map, and that's the sign of a good team. Is like, oh, they're attacking there, well, we're attacking here, making sure that they never just get something and just get to, all right, we got it, let's get out. Make sure they pay for that by having your numbers elsewhere.
Yep, and that's a really good point to make, and I think that's what we're going to be seeing this Mercury from ISO do a lot. Just making sure he puts the numbers advantage in the favorable lane, and I think he's doing it in the right spot too. Poseidon, Wet Spinach in specific, did a very good job of keeping himself safe and in team fights, putting out really good damage. Wukong actually went back in, no fear from Linkanu still, and that's with no defense item online too. So I'm curious to see how this continues. Ultimate comes out from Spinach to stop ISO from killing him, and it's a very close one. Almost gets that kill, actually. I think if the 3 didn't connect there, he would have been able to follow that damage up. The solo laner is still here. Very low is Godzilla Frost, but Tsukiyomi's going to come in and make sure that he finds that kill. Now he's going to go in onto the Vulcan. Will not be able to keep himself alive. And it's a small shutdown bonus for Fried Ice Cream there. That 3-0, 4-0 jungle now being taken down to 4-1.
Yeah, and I mean, Fried Ice Cream just picking up where he left off last game. He's just putting out big numbers of damage. The Vulcan ult drops. That's a lot of damage. Suku ults onto him, but he hits him with the meatball. He drops his turret. Suku has no choice but to stand there. He has no dash. He doesn't get to choose where he ends his ult. So Fried Ice Cream just able to rotate over there and, again, make sure they don't get anything.
Kalo finding another kill using the Desert Fury. Blue buff invade, solo invade as well from the Wukong here. Looks like he's going to be able to get that one away. That was off of another invade on his own blue from Vibe Tribe as well. So he's going to just trade in 1-1 for the blue buff invades. Geb's here as well, takes that teleporter across the map. Looks like he's starting the beginning of his world tour. But now Vulcan in trouble once again. Nice push into the Kraken as well. Beads comes out, but it's just too little too late, and Izakor will use the Piercing Moonlight off of that wonderful setup from Wet Spinach to get the kill onto Fried Ice Cream.
Yeah, I mean, Wet Spinach playing very well here in the early game. His Krakens have done a lot of damage and been extremely effective. Almost got ISO earlier in the game. Does manage to help Izakor put Fried down this time as we see them going on to the Mercury.
Yeah, ISO doing another impression of... I don't know what he's doing an impression of, the moon. I don't know where I was going with that one, but either way, he finds himself another kill. Ganesh trying his best to take down this tower, but the double kill goes over to Kalo, making him a 4-1 on her. We weren't seeing this from him last game. He didn't get nearly as much done this early, but he's kind of huge now.
Yeah, at this point, like a really strong start from Kalo, who, like you said, maybe a little slow starting there in the first half of game one, but he did pick up and put out good damage as the game went on, picking up where he left off, and just a 4-1 on her. Oof, that's a scary thing to hear on your team and be like, we have to deal with that now? Congratulations to Terror Mini.
And as this game continues, obviously the duo lane is probably not where you're leaning on as Vibe Tribe right now. The lead is significant, and it's kind of put them in a little bit behind here. Do you think maybe they just start trying to help this Hercules out? Massive heal, by the way. It's a dive from Lin Kanu, and the ultimate for Mercury to continue this engagement. Wukong Doppelganger doing a great job of tanking that tower. And it's going to be Tsukiyomi coming around the backside. Poseidon is here. Whirlpool over the wall doesn't connect, and ISO's going to throw out some damage. Ultimate's going to connect onto Sun Wukong and catch the dash. They're really deep in enemy territory. I don't see them getting out, but Vulcan making that rotation now, going to throw down the rockets onto Poseidon. Earthbreaker does so much damage there, even at short range. And the dive from Geb from the support, and Patriot cleans up Wet Spinach for his team. That should have been 3 members. No. It was only the one. But now Hercules is back. And there's 3 people in his solo lane right now.
Yeah, just, again, a prolonged, spread out fight. They get to pick onto Hercules. They go for a blue buff invade. Okay, well, some people showed up to contest it. That makes sense. That fight goes so long. ISO almost falls. A little unfortunate for Izakor. If his ult would have dropped him on top of ISO dies, but it dropped him on top of Len, who is a Sun Wukong, who it was, he's a Sun Wukong. He's survivable. We talked about it all last game.
And now I'm looking at it. We talked about the starts. I'm surprised that I missed it. We'll get back to that, though, in a sec, as Tsukiyomi and Vulcan duke it out in the beacon. Here comes the Poseidon to try and help his jungle out. Horrific's going to slow down the Tsukiyomi a little bit. No concerns there from GunShow Shoguns now, as Izakor does have to back up. Mercury showed up finally. And that beacon is going to be going the way of the GunShow Shoguns there. And I just gotta point out here the build. Well, we'll point that out here in a second as Hercules comes in from behind. Godzilla Frost making that early rotation. Geb uses the ultimate to slow down the Hercules. Tsukiyomi throwing out some damage onto the backliners of GunShow Shogun. Mercury charging that ultimate, looking for potential re-engage. Drops it, recharges it. May end up having to just completely give up that engage. Over in the duo lane, though, the 1v1 between the carries has begun. Tsukiyomi making that rotation on her is very healthy. Ultimate comes out. Dark Portal silences on her, but only for a moment. Izakor is in a lot of trouble here. He's getting a little bit of help, though, from his carry. No mana left, so she can't dash after him. Panzer Stew is going to have to back this one up, but the ultimate from Mercury. Ganesh throws out the pillars, but it just doesn't stop ISO. He does not care. Now he's going to try and turn his attention over towards the support of Vibe Tribe. Ganesh will be able to make it out.
Yeah, just beautiful placement of the Mercury out there by ISO. Kills Izakor with the actual dash and then lands right on top of Panzer so that he can just auto, and then Panzer dies too, which now leaves Shoguns open to taking this Gold Fury.
And I love this play. No hesitation from the GunShow Shoguns at all. They just say, "Hey, we just killed 2 people. Let's go ahead and grab this Gold Fury. Who's here to stop us?" And Vibe Tribe admittedly know that. They didn't send anyone over there to stop that. That's great play from GunShow Shoguns. They are amping up the pace in this game from game 1.
Absolutely. They've pretty much picked up right where they left off. Vibe Tribe still playing pretty well and having some opportunities, especially anywhere Izakor is, as we see he's...
Oh, the dive. Linkanu picks up that kill under the T1. Probably going to get that T1. Well, no, there's no probably. It's dead. But no, that... Like you were saying, they just picked it up. And even Linkanu, I mean, he just started the game only 15 minutes ago, and he's been pushing himself as hard as he did in that game 1 in the late game.
Yeah, I was surprised to see a Gilgamesh that knew no fear and couldn't take any damage. I'm not surprised to see a Wukong know no fear and be so survivable. So I'm not at all...
Go ahead. Oh no, go ahead. I would like to hear what you had to say. As Wet Spinach finds himself a kill into ISO, finally getting a little bit in return. But no, I'll just ask now. I feel like we probably forgot where we were at. But you said you weren't afraid. You're not surprised that he's doing this on the Wukong, and it kind of made me think about it. You know, we were talking about it at the beginning of this set. We said, well, they're not going to give me a chance to ask the question. Tsukiyomi taking some damage from the on her, the dive into the tower onto Wet Spinach, who's very low, fighting for his life, dodging some abilities out. Geb is also very low. The turret's going to be able to put some damage down. Eventually he will fall, but not without trading out Patriot. It is a 2-kill swing for our lovely little mid laner in Wet Spinach, but is it worth it? Hercules is here, shoves Vulcan under the tower, Beads comes out, Pluck doesn't connect over the wall. Very solid attempt. Ganesh is here, maybe to slow it down, misses the boulder, but they're still chasing down the Vulcan, and he will fall to Izakor using the piercing moonlight on his enemy. I had a word there and I kind of lost it.
Yeah, I mean, good initial play by the Shoguns to really isolate Spinach there, but they just didn't... I don't know if they focused Spinach a little too much or if they just didn't have the damage to get the tower, but tower survived long enough to kill Patriot, and then they were... Like, they got Spinach, but then they just kind of started falling as they had overextended, stuck around a little too long.
We got a short pause here, it looks like, and we're going to go ahead and transition this over to a break while we sort this pause out. Just stick with us, everybody, and we'll be right back. All right, and welcome back, everybody, from that short break. Looks like the players have made it in. We're just waiting on the pause to end here. And this actually gives me a perfect opportunity to go back to the question I really wanted to ask you. At the beginning of this set, we were talking about 6 Point not being here for this one, Linkanu taking his place for this game. Do you think Linkanu has filled in for 6 Point and made a good showing of himself in this game?
Oh, absolutely. Linkanu has played fantastically throughout this set. He's bought so much space, he's done a lot of damage, he's put a lot of pressure onto the enemy, especially the backline. He's done everything you could ask your solo to do.
And maybe more.
and maybe more.
Yeah, I believe he did finish that last game somewhere around 8-2, maybe 7-2, something along those lines, which is a very good scoreline for a solo laner, by the way. So as we see what GunShow Shoguns are bringing to the table, that no fear play style, they're grouping up, walking into the mid lane here. Do you think the late game maybe looks better for Vibe Tribe if they can get there, or is the late game also favoring GunShow here?
Vibe Tribe does have a pretty strong late game, but I have to give the late game advantage to Shoguns just in nature to Mercury, who is such a late game scaling god, especially like he wants to get his rage stacks, which he's got 4 of them already. Like he wants items and power under his belt, and that only gets worse as the game goes on.
Nothing like a Geb to shadow you, especially when it's not your Geb.
Mm-hmm.
Patriot. Harassing. Oh my goodness.
Right, they're just having some fun, but Poseidon is kind of just taking some unnecessary poke from the Indra's scepter.
It looks like it's a little bit more than just some fun, actually. The beacon does go the way, so maybe a little bit of a distraction. Geb walking up, standing so closely, saying, "You're not getting past me. If I move up, you're moving back."
Yeah, and I mean, Spinach really doesn't have much choice but to just be like, "Okay, whatever you say, sir."
And I'm not gonna argue with you. You make a really solid point here.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Pyromancer goes the way of GunShow Shoguns as well as the beacon. We were talking about the late game potential of GunShow Shoguns a little bit there, and I agree. I think the late game potential does unfortunately fall in their favor. Isakor takes a lot of damage. He's going to be able to avoid that ultimate. Probably get to walk away from this one with his life. Mercury ult actually came out. He's very low, and he will not fall. He uses that tier 2, and to re-engage at such low health doesn't connect any of the piercing moonlight shots, though, so he will be able to stay under that Phoenix. Now the Mercury, though, in some trouble, and Wet Spinach connects the Riptide. Connects the wave, I should say. And now the fight looks very much in favor of Vibe Tribe. They're going to try and swing out some more damage. Don't think they're going to be killing this on here. Geb, though, does look like a tasty snack as he has to walk through all those pillars and all those things on the map. Panzerstew will find that last hit. So many player-made things there to stop him, and now it's the carry that will fall right behind. Isakor gets that kill with the help of his mid laner knocking him into those caltrips. No, wait, some Wukong's here. Gonna try and find a kill onto the mid laner. No mana on the Poseidon. Likely will not survive this one, and Lin Kanu will find himself his second kill of the game in the late game portions. Ultimate is back up from Pride, and it connects onto 3. Tsukiyomi is very low. Lin Kanu will take the ultimate right back down onto the jungler, and it's Ganesh falling final to Lin Kanu, picking up a triple kill, is the solo laner of the GunShow Shoguns.
Yeah, I mean, just great play by Lin Kanu there to pick up the triple kill, but that fight was so long. That fight started close to where we are now. It was like in between the buff camp and the T2 tower in mid. And then it extended through the T2 tower close to Phoenix, and then it went to speed buff, and then it went back to mid lane all the way up towards GunShow tower, and then it ended around Beacon as we see ISO ulting in again.
Yep, and it's Hercules already knocked down to half of his health. The ultimate from the Geb is only going to confirm what was already likely a kill. Didn't even get a chance to look up and see who confirmed that one, but I don't think it matters. Vibe Tribe they're bleeding out right now.
They are. They showed some good fight back there. Again, Shoguns overextended. Vibe Tribe was able to counterpunch and get a couple kills. But then they overextended, and Shoguns was able to respawn, get back in, take that fight, and then presumably take the Gold Fury too, I believe.
Yep, now they right off of a Gold Fury take I am stuttering. Give me a sec. Right off of that Gold Fury take is when they take that kill on Godzilla Frost. And as we're looking at the levels right now, I say bleeding out. It may be more than just bleeding out. Poseidon in trouble, has to use beads and Aegis, is able to use that movement speed to escape the Earthshaker from the Vulcan. Tsukiyomi gets horrific, gets stunned, but there's no one here to follow up. They turn their attention to the solo laner. They may be able to escape this one. Geb is down his ult, so probably no kill here. Hercules does need to find his way out of this one. Is trying to find a route, but just can't. Dash finally comes up, able to get some distance, but he's going to get thrown into the wall. All of the members are going to chase him down, and he finally falls to ISO, throwing the one over the wall. But now the dive under the Phoenix that they can't even take yet. A lot of poke onto the Geb and on her there from that one. I'm wondering if Vibe Tribe maybe consider a re-engage here.
It's definitely a possibility. Yeah, and yeah, like you said, just a good kill onto the Hercules to take advantage of that. But you don't want to dive into a Phoenix that you can't even damage at this point in time and just take such unnecessary poke. Because if they had taken that fight cleanly, like they could potentially just gather around this fire giant. They still have that possibility, but they're walking to Pyro right now as, a couple members had to back and make sure they're healthy. Yeah. So now it gives Vibe Tribe the chance to regroup as we group up around this presumed fire giant dance.
Yeah, and there's a ton of wards coming out from Vibe Tribe. Seems that they consider the fire giant their way into this game, their way to get back into this game, I should say. And I completely agree. I think that the fire giant is probably their pillar point. If they want to get back into this one, then they cannot afford to let GunShow take this fire giant and continue this A train that they've created.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, the gold lead has ballooned up to like 14,000. It is enormous right now. It's hard to fight into that. It's not necessarily impossible, but I agree with that. If Shoguns get the fire giant, that is likely just game. So Vibe Tribe has to find some way to fight back and either prevent them from getting it or maybe try for a steal. You do have Kraken, that's pretty good secure. Izukor can buy space and do damage to maybe get a pick or two while they're focusing on fire giant.
A lot of options for them, but not many routes for them to take to get there. And the farming is definitely helping them out here. I'm kind of surprised that GunShow Shoguns kind of let up off the gas here, allowing Vibe Tribe to actually get some of this farm. But this right here is what I'm mainly seeing, where the struggle is, and it's right here in the solo lane. They can find a kill, or at least an assist for the Hercules. Very low health is the on her, may be able to get him what I was saying, and it's still going to turn into a full-on fight as the Mercury comes in with the ultimate. Earthshaker over the wall, burns the Aegis onto Panzer Stew. Tsukiyomi very low. He's going to have to try and find a way out of this one. Instead, realizes he doesn't have an exit, tries to do some damage before he falls. Fried Ice Skin gets that kill, and it's 2 members dead. Solo laner and jungle gone. This is going to make any of these objective plays even more difficult. Poseidon running for his life. Ganesh stuck between minions and Geb. The body blocks from Patriot are doing so much work. Ultimate comes out from Ganesh just off the mark to try and stay alive. Still trying to find that out. Will not be able to find it. Blocking the path of Red Britters. And she will take the fall.
Yeah, just tough there. I mean, they do manage to get the kill on her, but as we see what's likely about to be a dead Poseidon.
Yeah, very tough. Lin Kanu just abuses the mid laner of Vibe Tribe. And I was saying, I'm kind of surprised they were allowing them to get that farm. They weren't. They had a plan in mind. And it looks like Left Phoenix is what's for dinner here.
Yeah, apparently their plan was just have Kalo be a nice juicy piece of bait to lure the rest of the team of Vibe Tribe in. Unfortunately, Kalo did fall, but they cleaned up afterwards so hard that, Kalo's responded now. He's on his way back in as we see him walking towards fire while there's a bit of a scuffle here in mid.
Wukong is now the bait, and this one is not as tasteful, in my opinion. You don't want to take this bait.
No, that's not bait. That's a donut under a cardboard box with a stick propping it up. Like, that's a very obvious trap.
I mean, I would fall for it. But anyway, anyways, it's a 4v1 for the Wukong. Has to use the ultimate. And it's the Mercury ult to get in there. Doesn't connect with anybody, but I'm not sure he's too concerned as it makes the entirety of Vibe Tribe reconsider this engagement and backs up.
Mm-hmm. And we see Vibe Tribe back up to base. We see Shoguns back up around this Pyromancer, it looks like, is their target. I don't know if they're waiting for fire to be enhanced or if they just haven't felt comfortable pulling it yet, but I would expect to see them pull it very soon.
Would like to see them pull it now. Go ahead and take that. You might be able to find a team fight off it. Make Vibe Tribe just think about what you're doing basically, and force them to make a decision. Do they just give you the fire giant for free, let you get that free golden hand to finish your items, or buy the red pots, maybe even a 3k pot? Vulcan gets plucked back by Godzilla Frost. Izakor still chasing. Ultimate comes out, and Izakor is the first to fall, and now they turn their attention over to the Hercules. He's going to have to use his dash just for an escape. Ganesh Holt's going to slow down the engagement just a little bit. Poseidon very low, and Patriot will find that kill with the slam. ISO finds a kill onto Britters. Hercules is one of the only people still left alive of the 4 that made their way. You don't need a fire giant if you just kill them all. Left side, right side, Phoenix is next. Panzer knows that he's just going to have to give this one up. There is no possibility of him saving the Phoenix, and maybe not even a possibility of him saving his own Titan. He's going to go in with the Dark Portal, but it only hits 3 members of the 5. It's under 50%, under a quarter. It is gone, and it is a 2-0 victory for the GunShow Shoguns.
Yeah, just very strong play from the Shoguns throughout that game. Vibe Tribe did put up some fight. They didn't make it easy on them, but they were just never on the same page, truly. And that last fight is kind of a microcosm of that. We saw Hercules step up and pull the beads off Vulcan. Nice. That's good. That's a good start. That gives you a possibility, in a little bit here. But then Tsukuyomi goes in. And once Tsukuyomi's in, he can't get out. So he falls. And then Hercules falls. And then the rest fall.
It's a domino effect right there, and props to Izakor. Does a very good job, has a very good game in this set, but only it takes more than one person, and it's proven right here in this game as GunShow Shoguns, in dominating fashion in game 2, take this victory. And who are you giving MVP to in this one? Because if I'm throwing out any names, I'm giving it to Linkanu. I think he played phenomenally in this solo lane, filling in for the main solo laner on this roster as well. And I mean, he didn't just fit the shoe. I think he put a new shoe there. And when 6 Point comes back, he's gonna have a lot to make up for, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Linkanu definitely MVP of the set here. Everywhere he went, the enemy team had no choice but to deal with him, and for the most part, they couldn't. They just weren't able to find an answer to what he was doing. They weren't able to turn on him. He was so tanky or survivable with the Wukong ult. He was putting so much damage and pressure on the back line that it made it easy for Fried or ISO to just come in and clean up kills.
Absolutely. And everyone on the GunShow Shogun is just putting up fantastic numbers and score lines. And Vibe Tribe, I think, need to just look back at game 1, if anything. Game 2, things got out of hand. It's very unfortunate. You hate to see it. Game 1 did so many things right, and if we were still in that same situation, I at some points thought Vibe Tribe had the makings to win game 1. But fortunately, not the outcome that we had. And it's like I said already, 2-0 victory in favor of the GunShow Shoguns. You got any closing words before we end this one here, Deacon?
No, not really. Just, had fun. It was a blast here with you and King Balrus here
Thank you.
as our spectator, letting us all watch what was a great set.
Yep, fantastic job from King Balrus and all of our production team, of course. And make sure y'all stick around. Don't get too far away, and make sure that nurse gets you up in time for the next game of Frick's Retirement Home today at 7 o'clock. Will be another Walker set. I'm not too sure who's playing in that set, but make sure you're around for that one. 8 p.m. Excuse me. I was on my own time, Central Time. 8 p.m. And it's Odin Headhunters versus Baba's Kitchen. But make sure y'all are around for that one at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for joining us right here this afternoon, though, and have a good afternoon.